òtítọ́ kò jẹ́ ronú ibi rárá.
Sagitari sire pasi Maria no kuda iwe wakakomborerwa iwe marudzi osenga azive mwari nekuda kwechako chiedza zviri mauri zvikuru. You were a star, you were born to shine, it's time to rise up. Arise, arise, your light has come. Uri mwana wa mwari, creation waiting for you. Show the world your light.
Is a godly favored continent. This jewel is the nucleus of the world, as it is the most centrally located continent. The black jewel is power, brilliance, and outstanding uniqueness. This jewel is gold. It is vast gas and oil reserves, diamonds, timber, fish, and great wildlife sceneries. It is vast, beautiful deserts and a unifying coastline. The black jewel uniqueness is in its color black, the very depth of all colors. It is victory. Our victory as a black jewel lies on our genuine black knees, knelt in a unified cry to the Almighty. Our black jewel will rise in Nuga, Africa. The black jewel.
Your time has come.
Good evening, everybody. I am very happy that you're able to join us today. My name is Sama Lenalele, and I am live from Chisasi. Thank you, everyone that's able to join in. If you don't mind, I would love for you guys to type in the chat and let us know where you're joining from so that we can welcome you. I see we're already 24 participants. That is really, really good. So please let us know how you're doing and where you're joining in from. We'd love to hear from you and how your day is doing as we gear up and wait for Mrs. Lilian Katiso, who is going to be speaking to us later today. All right. Please do type in the chat and let us know where you're coming from.
There are no napkins. Where do you put your hands before?
I would love to encourage all of us to mute ourselves the moment that we join. And also, I see we have a message from somebody called Sharon. Sharon is coming in from Lesotho. You are very, very welcome.
Thank you.
We are happy to hear from you. Eric, you are very welcome. You're joining in from Chanja, so we're probably neighbors. You're very welcome, and we look forward to hearing from you. I see our numbers are going up. This is great. Please do invite your friends to come and join us. It is a mentorship series for all of us, and I'm sure we shall all enjoy it. There is so much to learn, right? I see we have Muevaza Joy listening in from Texas. Wow. Thank you, Joy, for tuning in. I hope it's not as cold as I think it is or the weather news says it is. We have Sarah joining us from Masaka. You are very, very welcome, Sarah. It's good to have you with us. Please don't feel shy. Type in the chat and let us know where you're listening in from. We have quite a number of things lined up, and we wouldn't want you to miss a thing. Be sure to invite your friends to come and join us. It will be good to hear from them. All right, so as we are waiting for the others to join, I would like us to say a short prayer and then we can start. Not that we haven't already, but let's humble ourselves. Father, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the gift of today. We thank you that you've blessed us with this mentorship series that has been a blessing to a number of us. Bless and guide us as we go through this session. Enable us to be able to learn a number of things, speak to us, speak to our hearts, and may we be transformed at the end. We ask that you give more wisdom to our host and the speaker today. We thank you for who she is, and we thank you that she is here to share with us in the wisdom that you have given her. We thank you, and in your mighty name prayed. Amen. So this evening, we are going to have a mentorship series. So we are going to have a session from Mrs. Lilian Katiso, and that is going to be from 7:15 all the way till 8 p.m. I hope we all have our notebooks ready. You can have your phone nearby, but I think I am very, very traditional. I like to write things down, so I guess that shows where I am. Then from 8 to 8:30 p.m., we shall have some questions. Please, if you have any questions, be sure to write them down so that you don't forget them, because you never know. You're asking the question on behalf of a number of people. So that will be really good. And don't feel shy. You can type the message in the chat in case you feel like you're very shy, which I highly doubt, but it will be really good. All right. I see we have some more people that have joined us. We have Mr. Edward from Gayaza. You are very welcome. We have Mr. Javia joining in from Barara. You are very, very welcome. We have Goreti Nakabugo from Chadondo East Wakiso. We also have Cornelius from Bali. It's very good to have you guys on the call. So before we start, I don't think my introduction will do her justice, but here are a few things to know about Mrs. Lilian Katiso, who is going to be our speaker today, right? I think I first met Mrs. Lilian when she gave a class on discipleship. If you haven't had one, I would really, really encourage you to sign up for it. You will be surprised by how much you're going to learn. So Mrs. Lilian Katiso is a chartered certified accountant with 25 years of immense experience. Not just experience, immense experience in accounting and financial management from working in both the NGO and the private sector in both Kenya and Uganda. She is a financial management consultant offering CFO on call services. She is a certified entrepreneur, trainer, and consultant by Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship. She holds an MBA from Edinburgh Business School of Heriot Watt University. She is a fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants and a member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda with a Bachelor of Commerce/Accounting degree. She has a passion for supporting SMEs and seeing them thrive and be sustainable ventures. For this reason, she supports business owners and mentors them to set up sustainable and financial business management systems. Her pro bono work through the various blogs and articles has earned her the SCCA Uganda Outstanding Contribution to Accountancy and Finance Profession Award in 2016. Congratulations, Mrs. Katiso, that is quite something. She is a former chair of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants Uganda Network panel. She was among the judges panel for the CFO Awards in 2022, 2023, and 2024. She also featured among the top 40 under 40 most elite, inspirational, and influential women of 2017 in Uganda. This is amazing. In 2023 and 2024, Mrs. Lilian Katiso was a program director of the Accounting and Financial Management Systems program, supporting the 150 SMEs in Uganda, which was coordinated by Imuka Access in collaboration with professors from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. She directly participated in the pre-launch program design and also supported in recruiting, supervising, coaching, and mentoring 24 CFOs and directly overseeing the successful implementation of the program in Kampala and Bara districts in Uganda. She is also the managing director of Zadok Associates and the proprietor and CEO of More and More. Did I say that right? More and More, a garden center business born out of her childhood gardening hobby. She is a board member of Kampala Music School and a past president of Business Network International Prosper Chapter. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Katiso as she comes to speak to us. We welcome you. Thank you so much. We are glad to have you with us today.
Thank you very much, Samali. Thank you for the kind introduction. Thank you for organizing this session. Okay, so as I share my screen, I would like you to indulge me. If, let's say, we are talking money today, we are talking about making money and everything. So the participants on call, if all of us were to earn the same salary, yeah? So let's say, whatever you think the figure is, let me not give a figure to give a bias. Whatever the figure is, assuming that all of us were earning the same salary, what work would you do? What job would you do, or what work would you do, or what would you engage in? Type in the chat, please. What would you do? If the salary was not an issue, everyone was earning the same salary, and you're to choose something to do, what is it that you would do? I would like to see in the chat, and then somebody you can help me read them out as they come through. What would you can start by yourself, Samali, as the others also type in. What would you do if the salary, because most of us choose professions and jobs depending on the salary, right? So if the salary was standard.
I would be a clinical researcher. I would love to do clinical trials and get new drug molecules on the market. That's what I would do.
That's nice. Thank you. Has anybody else posted anything?
I'm waiting for them to post. Guys, don't be shy. Nora from Gulu, you are very welcome. Please type in the chat. We would love to know what is on you guys' hearts.
What would you be doing if money was not the issue? It's the same salary for everybody. What is it that you would be doing?
Someone said they would be running a 5-star restaurant. I don't know who that is. Yes. Then Eric said he would build more schools. Nice. That is really good. Yes.
But before building the schools, what would he be doing himself? Would he be teaching? What would he be doing?
Yes, Eric, we would love to hear some more about that. In the meantime, I see Goretti is saying that have empowerment sessions with young women.
Okay.
Nora says that she would be an inspector. Oh, this is nice. Then Sharon says she would start up a daycare center and a salon for the elderly ladies to come and relax. That's really cool. Isaac from UK, I think, would be in real estate.
Yeah.
Mwebazat Joy would be in design systems.
Interesting. Okay. So, I'm hearing more of like where you'd like to make money from those who have posted. Okay, so I'll proceed on
Yeah.
with the question as I'll read the rest as they come on. So today, I was invited to speak about mastering money. And to master money, of course, the focus is on how to make and grow the money. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. How to make and grow money. Now, money mastery is around 3 pillars. Okay, so as you said, the topic is how to make and grow money. So you have to make the money before you grow it. So you have to make the money, you have to manage the money, multiply the money. That is, the multiplying is now what? Is now the growing bit of the money. So if you want to build wealth, I believe that's why you want to make money, to build wealth. It has to be in that order. You have to make money first, manage the money, and multiply money. There's no shortcut to it, okay? But we all have different ways that we can make this money, yeah? And most of the people logged in here, I believe, are Christians. And so I'll draw you to the story of Moses in the Bible. When Moses encountered the burning bush, and of course, there was that whole conversation he had with God. And then he was asked, what do you have in your hand? And his response was, some versions say a staff, other versions say a shepherd's staff. Like the version that are very specific said a shepherd's staff. Why did he have a shepherd's staff? Because he was a shepherd. Moses was a shepherd. And so we know the story, how it goes, that staff that he had, God used it to perform a lot of miracles. He moved him from being a shepherd to go to get the people of God's people out of bondage, out of Egypt. And there were so many miracles that were performed with that one staff that was shepherding sheep before. Now it became a staff that was able to deliver a whole nation from bondage. I know we like reading that verse and saying, whatever it is that we have in our hand is what is God is going to use. What Samalia has in her hand, I will not use it because it's not in my hand. What I have in my hand is what I can do. What you have in your hand is what you can do. And each of us, there is something that we have in our hand. And my question to you, or my first question to you, my first assignment to you is to find out what is it that you have in your hand. It could be a gift, it could be a calling, it could be a skill, it could be some special thing that you have that differentiates you from somebody else. What is that thing that you have in your hand? Because most of the time, when it comes to making money, the best place to start making money is from what you have in your hand, okay? And there are 3 ways, if we now bring them to the current, in our current scenario, there are 3 ways that you can make money. Either you make money through a career, you make money through entrepreneurship, or you make money through investment. I'm going to go into the details of all this. But if you see that diagram that I've put there, if you know Robert Kiyosaki, and I've read his books, the Rich Dad and Poor Dad series, he talks about the things that you won't be taught in school. And then he says that all of us, in whichever way we are making money, we fall into those 4 quadrants. The first quadrant is being an employee. And that's where most of the people who are pursuing career to make money fall in there. So you have a job that you go to, and at the end of the month, you're given a salary. So which means as long as you're able to work, you keep on getting a salary. So you're trading your time for money. And according to him, he says, you have no leverage, because the day you stop working, then what happens? You stop getting money. Then the next quadrant is self-employment. So someone goes into consultancy, decides they want to work for themselves, or you have some expertise that you can pass on to other people. You're the main person. It is you who has to do the work for you to get paid. Even if you're a musician, you're a baker, you're a chef, it is your time that you're trading for money. Okay? So if you're self-employed, of course, you can be able to charge more maybe than you would have been earning in your job if you had a job, but you still have to trade your time for money, which means you still have no leverage, because the day when you are unwell, you'll not be able to do that work. You'll not be able to attend to your clients. You'll not be able to do that thing that you're supposed to have done. And then it says that the third quadrant, which is being a business owner, this is now where the entrepreneurship happens. So the first two quadrants, employee and self-employment routes, both of them are career options, career paths to making money. So the other part to making money is being a business owner. This is now the entrepreneurship bit. So you own a business. So when you own a business, it means there are people who you've employed who are working in that business, and you're leveraging the people to make money. So it doesn't depend on you for the business to run. It depends on the people for the business to run. But also for the business to be profitable, then you have to have systems. So you'll be leveraging both people and the systems. The fourth quadrant, that is the most desirable quadrant to be, is being an investor. And that is the investment route of making money. This is where now you've had people saying, make money work for you. Yes. So this is where the money is working for you. It's not people working for you. It is not you working for yourself. It is money working for you. And this is the place where we say now you have passive income. That even if you are unwell and you're unable to work, your money is already employed, is working for you. And that is the investment route. So each of these are different options for us to make money. And I know depending on the forums that you interact with, some people prefer some routes more than others. But as you can see, you can make money as an employee in career, you can make money as a business owner, you can make money as an investor. All those are options, okay? So if you're asking then, what do you have in your hand? So you have to look at yourself, okay? If you have qualifications, then it means your most likely route is career. You deploy those qualifications in return for someone paying you. If you have capital and you can start a business, then of course, you employ your capital, put systems in your business, and you get profit of that, and you get money is also another way. But if you reach another level where now you have extra money beyond the capital you have in your business, you have some surplus money, you can use that money to invest in other people's business or in other options, as we're going to look at that in detail, and you still make money. So each of these levels increases leverage for you, but also allows you scalability. And I'm going to dive deep a bit in each of them. But my question to you that you have to ponder, and as you go through this evening and even later on, what is it that you have in your hand? Because God will only use that which you have to do what? To allow you to make money. God will use what you have, not what somebody else has. So you should not look beyond yourself. Look within yourself. What is it that you have that you can use to make money? Is it a skill? Is it a gift? Is it a qualification? Is it an experience? What is it that you have? Okay. So you can see there are many ways, many options for you to start making money. Assuming that you choose the career option, because I think I've gone through all the four quadrants myself as personally, and so I'll just mostly be sharing my story, and I hope that it helps somebody along the way. So we said, if you choose a career option, you're trading your time for money. The challenge where we say there's no leverage is because this time you are unable to work, then the money also stops. So it means that you're limited by the hours, because you can only work so much, yeah? You are limited by the hours, but also you're limited by energy. If you choose to be in the career option, you have a profession, so you can choose now. For me, I'm an accountant, so I did my accounting degree. I was getting paid, but when I wanted to be paid more, then I went and specialized and I got ACCA, so that's getting a professional qualification. So whatever field you're in right now, if you're not happy with where you are, most of the times in the career space, they look at your qualification to reward you according to your qualification. Of course, there's qualification and experience, but qualification is very, very key in the professional space. And I noticed when I went and did my ACCA, I got more, I was able to earn more than when I was just having my Bachelor of Commerce. Later on, when I went and did my MBA, I was able to attract more salary than when I was previously. Okay, so this is speaking to those who have chosen the career route. Okay, if you're not happy with what you're earning so far, then look and see, is there a way you can enhance your skill in your profession for you to be able to earn more money? Most of the time you find yes, that you may have to put in more, either you may not have to go get an MBA, but you may have to go do a short course. You may have to go and do some certificate. There's something you can go and do to make yourself better for you to earn higher salary, okay? I remember when I started out my profession, I just graduated, and then in our time, by the time I graduated, it was 1999 is when I graduated. In those days, the computers we're using, we didn't have Microsoft and all that stuff. We were using DOS. Like for you to boot a computer, you had to go give the computer some set of instructions for it to start. Now, it means that skill was seemingly obsolete for the job world that I was going to go to. So what did I do? I had to go and learn how to use a computer, to learn to use Microsoft and everything. And when I was still doing that course, I think in the first week when I just finished the course is when I met someone who was telling me, yeah, there's a petrol station, yeah, a service station that needed an accountant. Now, many people tend to be choosy. You've just graduated, you have your degree, and someone tells you there's a service station that needs an accountant. You know, we can be choosy and you say, I can't work in a service station. But you don't know where God uses a launching pad for you. And I believe for me, that was my launching pad into my accounting career. And I had to be humble to do work, roles that were beyond, how do you say, they were beyond account. I was doing accounting, but at some point I had to be the secretary to the MD. At some point I had to do some reception work. I had to do like a lot of different things. But it was just to start out. So if you're out there and you're starting in your career and you're saying there are no jobs, sometimes you might find you have to start below where maybe you thought you would be. Start just so that you can get an inroad and get your experience. I remember when I went to apply for that job, the MD was a British Indian. And he said, but you've just graduated. You don't have experience. And I believe God is the one who gave me the grace to ask him, if I don't get an opportunity to get experience, how will I ever get experience? I believe he saw the confidence that I had to convince him that I was willing to learn and to work there. And of course, I was willing to learn and to work there. And that is what started me out into my professional journey. Now, you might have qualifications, ACCA or whatever other qualification you have, and you find, okay, maybe I may not be able to get a job, but you can use that experience to go out and become a consultant. Okay, that is also another route of making money. The experience that God has enabled you to pass through, how can you use them to make money? Going back to what I said, what do you have in your hand? If you don't have the professional qualification, you have some experience that you've gone through. You know how to do something very well and someone else doesn't know how to do it. You teach them how to do it and they pay you to do it. I've seen people teaching people how to do what? How to bake, how to cook, how to do whatever it is that your skill set allows you, and you charge a fee for that. So you can trade your experience for a fee. It goes back to, what do you have in your hand? What is it that you know how to do? My son at 12 years old, he knew, of course, how to do video editing and things like that. And I told him, okay, instead of me giving pocket money, you do for me some editing and I pay you. And at that age, he was still able to use what he had in his hand, which was a laptop that he was just playing with, to actually earn money. Most of the time when we look within us, the experience that God has given us, we can actually trade that experience to someone else who doesn't have that particular skill, that particular experience, and we get paid for it. You can have a skill set, you can have a talent that you can also charge a fee for. The point is, all of us, if we look very deliberately, you can find that there's something that you have in your hand that you can actually use to make money. Still goes back to my question, what do you have in your hand? And you'll have to ask that question, and you'll find that you have more than one thing sometimes in your hand. I had my profession that I was earning salary from, but I also had my experience. Having learned how to use QuickBooks accounting software, I was able to train other people how to use the software, train clients how to use the software, and then that became like my side hustle over the weekends to get extra money. So what you've already learned in your workplace, someone else might not afford your full-time salary for that, but they can pay you part-time to do that over the weekend on your free time. If we look clearly from our profession, from our experience, from our talent, actually there's something that you can be able to do for someone and they pay you. The second route was entrepreneurship. This is where now you have a business in place, okay? So in this case, your income is not directly tied to your time if you can employ other people to do the work. If you're the only one doing the work, then you're still more like you're a self-employed person, so you're still trading your time for the money. But the beauty about business, if you put in systems, actually it becomes scalable. But then the question is, how then do I start the business? Still goes back to, what do you have in your hand? For me, what I had in my hand was plants. I loved gardening. I still love gardening. But at the time when I started the business, it was out of what I had in my hand, which were plants in my garden, and the gift or the hobby of potting plants and nurturing them. It is something that I love to do. And I turned that into a business. Someone else loves to do something else and they can turn it into a business. My mom loved cooking. She turned it into a business and she has a restaurant. I know so many people who love baking and they have businesses for baking. Yeah. Still goes back to, what do you have in your hand? So it is your skill set that allows you even to start that business that you'll wish to start. The beauty about having business is that it is scalable. So more and more, of course, started from home for fun. I was just selling to my neighbors, then sold to my colleagues' plants. And then eventually, I was able to scale it and open outlets that are able to employ people and still run. That is still parallel. I was doing that even when I was still doing my accounting work and doing my consultancy work. So if you look within you, you might find that you have more than one thing that can actually bring you money. You can have your job bringing you money, but you can have your skills also bring you money. But most of the time we say we have no time. But in the evening, we find that maybe you're spending a lot of time on TV or on social media, but that is the time that you can actually use to grow that business. For more and more, it started out in the evenings is when I will be responding to clients on, I put adverts on social media, responding to clients. It was in the evening that I was building the side hustle that now eventually became a business. Then you can say, maybe I'm not inclined to start a business. It's fine. But you could be having friends who do what? Who have businesses. You can actually invest in their business. Okay? Then when their business makes a profit, they can give you some of it. They can give you dividends. You can do profit sharing. If you have some extra money, then you can actually buy a franchise. Okay? So you've seen KFC, for example. The people who run KFC, they're not the ones who started them, but they bought a franchise. And from running the franchise, they are making profits. So this is the second route. Entrepreneurship is another route for you to actually make money. Either you start your own business, invest in someone else's business, or buy an existing business, run a franchise, okay? The other route of making money is investment, okay? This is now where we talk about passive income. But now, this money most of the time would have come either from your career or from your business that you're running. From your career, assuming that you get a salary and you don't, I was going to say you don't eat all of it. You don't finish all your salary. You spare some. That extra money that you keep, you save from your salary, you can actually use it to do what? To invest. If you have a business, from the profits of the business, you can use that one to invest. So you see now the investment option for making money comes after you have either one of the other two. You either have a business that is giving you money or you have a job that is giving you money. It takes a lot of discipline for you to save, for you to be able to invest. But you have to start small. I remember when I was still in employment, where I was working, we decided that we were going to start a circle, a staff circle. And we were saving small money every month, We were saving. And from that savings, people will now use that money to either buy other things that they could invest in. Later on, when I left that employment, I had to think, where else can I be saving on a regular basis? And for me, the easiest option for me was what we call unit trusts. So unit trusts is a form of investment where you put your money regularly and you get interest earning on a daily basis. When I started out with unit trusts, that was 13 years ago, they were very expensive to start. Like for you joining to set up a unit trust, at that time it was 3 million, then they reduced it to 1 million. Now it is as cheap, not as cheap, as low as 100,000. You can start having unit trust. But I know there are even other cheaper platforms that allows you to save, I think 10,000 a day or something like that. If you want to save, you can actually, there are now many options that you can save daily, you can save weekly, you can save monthly. But the beauty about investment is that you don't have to be there for the money to work. I invest with UAP, now Old Mutual, Unit Trust, but I've never gone to their offices to check how they are working. If they came into work or they didn't come to work, I don't. But I get my statement every month showing me how much interest I've earned. So that is an example of how your money is working for you. You can decide you buy shares. Shares are there. MTN floated their shares. Airtel did. Many banks. If you go to the Uganda, okay, I see there are people beyond Uganda. Whichever country you're in your country, there is a stocks, capital markets or a stock market. I don't know which name you'll use in your country. We call it stock market or capital markets. So there are companies that are listed that you can buy shares. So when you buy shares from them, when they make a profit, they declare dividends and they pay out. Okay? So when MTN made a profit, they announced that they made a profit and everybody who had bought some shares from them got some money. So that is part of making money. You can also invest in government bonds or treasury bills. So treasury bills you can buy and invest. Let's say you have some money that you don't need for 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, and you put the money there and you get it after 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, depending on what you choose to get, and they give you interest. Yeah, so you can get interest. So from the shares or stocks, you can get dividends. From investing in government funds and mutual funds, you get interest. But also there is something that I came across a couple of years ago, peer-to-peer lending. There are people who have so much money, they don't know what to do with it. And they don't need the money at that time. Then on the other side, there are people who need money. So I have a friend, I have a company that I was introduced to in BNI that was selling Business Network International. They're called Money Market Gurus. So it's a platform, it's an app where people who need, like how people get salary advance from their workplace. So you need a salary advance, you go to the app and then you say you need money. Then there are people on the app who have money and they don't need the money now. So they will lend you the money for 1 month or 2 months and they'll be earning interest as you've gotten your money, you pay back with interest. Okay. So if you have extra money, this is where I said money works for you. So you have extra money, you lend it. This is an example of a formalized peer-to-peer lending option. But there are people who go full scale and set up a money lending business. I'm just saying, if you don't want to go set up a money lending business, there are apps that allow you to save your money, which means you're earning interest, as it is being lent to those people who need money. And then you do what? You get their charged interest, you get interest. But another way of making money, it means you already have money to now make more money, is real estate. Okay, so either you have rentals, you get money from rentals, or you buy land wait for it to appreciate in value, you sell it, you get money, we call that capital gains. But most of the time we think renting is just for real estate, but also there's another renting. You can have something that you buy that other people will need and they don't want to keep on buying. I remember some time ago, I had a friend who bought a bouncing castle. So she bought a bouncing castle and she rent it out every weekend for people who needed bouncing castles. Like if you have parties at your home, so you rent out the bouncing castle from her and she makes money. That's an example for many of other things. People rent out furniture, people rent out different things, yeah? I remember the time I had a function at Maua and Mo. Summary, it's called Maua and Mo. You're asking if you pronounce it well. So we had a function, and so it was a tea party. So we needed, of course, cups and cutlery and everything. And I wasn't going to just buy cups for a one-off function. Do you know there's someone who actually was hiring cups, spoons, everything? They just hire it for the weekend and you get it back. And that is how they make money. So there's some things that people need, but they don't need it all the time. So what do? You buy it, it's an asset that you have, and you keep on renting it. That's why I'm saying renting assets. So you can figure out, there could be something you have idle in your house that you're not using, but someone else can rent it out and use it. Meanwhile, and they benefit from it and you get money. It's the same concept that Airbnb has. So you have extra room, extra bedrooms, and you are not occupying all of them all the time. You rent out when someone needs it and you get your money without being a hotel owner, just from your home. I'm just saying that there are different ways for you to make money, but to make money on the investment route, which is good for passive income, you'll find that first of all, you'll have had to have money that helps you to do that. There's intellectual property. This one, so people who have written books, you keep on getting royalties from the books you've written. But now, increasingly, there are different things that social media has proven to us that we can make money from, yeah? Those of you who are inclined to do YouTube channels, to do podcasts, TikTok, I was seeing this guy, Liam, has now sold off his TikTok business, lots of money. Is it $900 million? But it was just something that he started for fun, that he grew and became a business. Yeah. Now, if you're able to, in the case of intellectual property, it means first of all you have had to do some work earlier, and then you keep on benefiting from that eventually. People who either subscribe to the channel, or people who buy your book, or people who buy whatever it is that you subscribe to, people who buy your songs, or people who buy whatever it is that you did, you can get money out of that. Okay? So there are 3 ways of making money: the career route, the business route or entrepreneurship route, or investment route. So all those are ways for you to do what? To make money. But now, once you've made that money can come and just disappear. So income does not guarantee wealth. The fact that you got a salary last month doesn't guarantee that you still have the money now. So what you have to do is to be able to manage that money. You have to steward that money if you want it to be there for a longer time, so that it is not just one-off. So it means, therefore, you have to have a way of making sure that you continuously have this money coming through. But beyond the money coming through, how do you grow it? Okay, because one of the things we said is, how then do we grow our money? For you to be able to grow your money, you have to be able to manage the money that you've already, that is coming in. And some of the things that you have to consider is budgeting. We find that most of the time people now start making money. So for some people, making money is actually not the problem. But as the money increases, also the expenditure increases proportionately to the money that has gone. So you find that at the end of the month, you still don't have money, yet you made money. And that is where now we talk about budgeting, debt, and saving. If you do not steward the money, the income that you keep on getting will not be sustainable. So then I'll go into details of those 3 things. So a budget. I think it's John Maxwell who said, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where did it all go. But most of the time, people feel like a budget is enslaving to them, yeah? They feel like it's a burden. But let me tell you, actually having a budget is liberating. You know why? Because when you have a budget, you've said, you've aligned, you've apportioned, you've instructed where your money is going to. So you say, if you pay rent, okay, you've apportioned for rent. If you pay school fees, you've put the money for that. Which means also in your budget, assuming you have money for entertainment. So when you're entertaining yourself and you know you've already paid rent, you've paid school fees, you've provided for your transport, you'll not be feeling guilty enjoying your entertainment money because all the other things are provided for. But when you don't have a budget, you might overindulge in your entertainment at the expense of either rent or school fees or food or something like that. But when you have a budget, it gives you that discipline of how then do you spend the money. But also the beauty of having a budget is that it helps you to understand if the budget line seems to be tight for the salary that you're currently earning, then you know then how much should be your target income. Okay? So if you find that when you put down everything that you have to spend money on every month, the salary you have right now is not covering those things. You have two options. One, to cut down some of your expenditure. Two, look for ways for making more money. So if you are a salaried earner, how then do you do a side hustle or do something else that brings you more money? If you own a business, how then do you do to bring more sales to generate more income? So most of the time when you look at the budget, you just look at cutting spending. But you can also look at it like, okay, if this is where I am right now, but my lifestyle where I want it to be should be from A to B, what then do I need to be able to do to increase my level of income? Do I need to improve on my work skills so that I can get more salary? Do I need to improve on my business so I can get more income? What do you need to do to cover that budget? But you'll not know how much to budget for in any particular month or how much you trust God to provide for you in a particular month if you're not tracking your expenses. So some principles on budgeting is you have to be able to track your expenses. In one of the trainings that I do, I give people an assignment to go and write their expenses for the whole month and then for the next month. And so a lady came to the session and then she said, when I wrote down all my expenses, I was so shocked at all the money that actually went through my hands. All that money was going through her hand, but she had never sat down to add up to see how much money has actually gone through her hands. And that's when she realized that she thought she doesn't have money, but she has money that comes to only that they just go without being planned. So money just disappears as it How much do you spend on transport? How much do you spend on your grooming? How much do you spend on whatever it is that you do? Because that normally gives people a good reality check. When you find you're spending a lot of money on a particular budget item, then it's a wake-up call for you. If you find you're a salaried earner and you're spending more than 50% of your money on rent, it might mean that you are paying too much rent, or you're spending 50% of your money on food. Either you're I'm not going to say you're eating too much, but if you do that exercise, you see where most of your money is going, and then you have a conversation with yourself. Is this where I really want the money to go? Am I happy with where this money is going? I remember doing this exercise many years ago, and I realized we're spending a lot of money on food. And to drill down to find out why we're spending a lot of money on food, I discovered that at that time, our houseboy, whenever any food that was left, he was giving it to the dog. Instead of going to buy dog food, which is actually cheap, the food that was left is what he was giving the dog. So imagine dog eating, like real people's food is what you're giving the dog. It's like, no, this is not sustainable. You're spending too much money on food, and we're just 3 people at that time. It's like, no. So the dog was eating like another member of the family. So we had to look for where we are going to get bones and all that for the dog. But it is until I was able to come down to see where the money was going, to see, hey, no, this food is too much, and interrogating where money is going. Okay? So for you, someone else did that and they found they were spending so much money on transport. Someone else did and they found they were spending too much money on rent or something else. It is a personal thing that you have to do. And decide for yourself, are you happy with that level of expenditure? If you're not happy, what then do you adjust? If absolutely there's nothing you can adjust on your expenses, look at the income side. How do you earn more money to cover your expenses? Another thing about budgeting, most of the time it is prioritizing the needs over wants. Because sometimes we just think we want this thing, but actually you don't need it. That when you come to what you actually need, you might actually save a lot of money. Yeah, you might find you don't have to go out every weekend. But if you went out maybe once a month or once a fortnight, you actually save some money. But sometimes you think that what you're paying money for is actually what you need just because your friend needs it, peer pressure, because everyone has got a new phone, even you now, you want to buy a new phone, which maybe you cannot afford. Yeah. You might want a new phone, but is it the time now to have the phone now? Delayed gratification comes in there. I put scripture verses for those who want to do scripture references. I'm going to read them now because of time. You can go check on those scriptures. Practicing delayed gratification is another thing. You might find that you buy something now that actually you don't need it until 6 months later, until a year later. Yeah. Sometimes I've seen colleagues who they'll buy a car that they will hardly afford just because their friend also bought a car. But if they waited a while, they would actually be able to afford that car comfortably. But because of peer pressure, they went and bought a car before they were ready to actually maintain that car. But if you had your budget, then you realize, oh, what I can actually afford for fuel on a monthly basis, I don't think I can afford a car right now because my budget does not allow. But all those decisions will only come in place if you have honest conversation with yourself. But it starts from where? Tracking your expenses. And that's an assignment I'm giving you. If you don't have a budget, track your expenses for a whole month and then a second month, because maybe something was an outlier in that month. After you've done for 2 months, 3 months best, you have a feel on how much you spend on food, on transport, on clothing, on entertainment, on utilities, on everything that pertains to you. And look at the percentage of those things and you see, are you happy with those percentages? If you're not happy, decide what do you want to reduce on. Okay. Prioritize your needs over wants and have delayed gratification. I'm not saying don't have a new phone. I'm just saying, do you need to have it now when you can't afford it now? Another thing about managing the money is managing debt. Now, because you want a new phone and you want a new car and you want a new what, you're going to do what? You get debt. Getting debt is not bad, but depends on what kind of debt you get. There is good debt and there is bad debt. So debt can either help you to grow or can hinder you to grow. Okay? So one of the things that you have to do is to track your debts. Because if you don't track your debts, you could be borrowing from left, right, and center, and you wake up one day and you're just overwhelmed with a lot of debt. So if you're taking debt, you have to be cautious. Why are you taking the debt? Is it good debt? Is it bad debt? Debt that helps you to grow, debt that helps you to buy an asset, an income generating thing, is good debt. Debt that helps you to bring more money is good debt. But debt that you just get to go buy I'm using a phone, to go buy a phone which you already have, or to buy something, because the phone is not going to appreciate in value. The car is not going to appreciate in value. So anything that you get debt to buy that is not appreciating in value is not good debt. But any debt that you get to buy something that appreciates in value or brings you income is good debt. And now with the what are they called? With these mobile phones, it's made easy for people to just borrow money, and they wake up and then they can't do what? They can't service their debts. So in my business, sometimes I pay. So there are people who provide things and then I pay them. And then someone says, no, don't send money on my phone because I owe because I owe the telephone company some money. Yeah. Don't send money on my phone because I owe some money. Yeah, so people end up borrowing because borrowing has become easy. We just borrow, borrow, borrow. Borrow with a purpose, not just for the sake of borrowing. Have a plan. If you decide to borrow, then have a payment plan. Because if you don't have a payment plan, then it is going to be, of course, tricky. Because when you do the payment plan, that is when you'll be able to see, can I be able to afford this loan? I've had to borrow several times, mostly for business. But there's a tool for those who use spreadsheets. There's a tool that helps you to calculate. If I borrow this money, how much will I be able to pay on a monthly basis? So that even before I borrow, I see, can I be able to afford this thing on a monthly basis? And can I be able to afford to pay it for that long? Then that helps me to have a payment plan. Because the moment you introduce debt now, it means it has to go in your budget. That, okay, something has to give. Either I'm going to reduce on food or entertainment because now I have a new thing in my budget called debt that I have to service. So what we have to do is, I'm not saying don't get debt, but avoid bad debt. Only have debt that does what? That helps you to grow. But don't borrow money to start a business. You can borrow money to grow your business, to scale your business, but not to start a business. Because if you're starting, it means that business has not yet been tested. So you don't know if it's going to work or not work. So you cannot borrow money to start a business. That's part of the bad debt. Borrowing money to start a business is not good. Borrowing money to grow a business that you've already tested and you know the business can afford to pay, that one is okay. Seeing my time is running fast. The third thing you have to do then in managing your money, so I said you do what? You have to budget, you have to manage the debt, but also you have to save some of the money that you've earned. Because if you're looking to start a business, it means therefore you have to save some money. But apart from that also, saving helps you to prepare for the uncertainties of tomorrow, okay? Saving helps you to prepare for emergency. Savings helps you to, if you want to further your studies, okay? If you want to further your studies, you have to pay for it unless your employer is paying for you, for those who are in employment. So you're saving to pay for your education, you're saving to buy that car that you want to buy, you're saving to buy land that you want to buy, you're saving to buy a house, you're saving towards something. But also you can save to have it as investment capital for you to start your business. It is best when you use your savings to start the business so that if the business doesn't work out, you're not losing someone's money. It is your money that you're losing. We call that bootstrapping. You're using your own money to start your business. It means you're betting on yourself. So if something doesn't work out, you've not lost someone else's money, okay? The story that I'm being reminded for in the Bible is the story of Joseph and Pharaoh's dream. And we know how it ends. It says that God revealed to Joseph that they need to do what? To have savings of 20% for the 7 years of plenty that was going to cover them for the 7 years of scarcity. But most of the time, we just go about life. We are not cognizant that, am I in my years of plenty? Am I in my years of scarcity? Okay? But most of the time, if you do a life audit, you'll find that you will always be having those years that are really good, and then you have years that are a bit stretched. In those years that are good, those are the years that you save for your future. Your savings will save you in the future. So the same principle that Joseph had in the Bible. In the years of plenty, you have to save because it is those savings in your years of plenty that will help you in your years of scarcity. And as sure as seasons happen, it also happens in life that you'll have seasons of plenty followed by seasons of scarcity. The lifespans might not be, the time spans rather, might not be 7 years. It might be 3 years. Some people's cycles are 3 years, some people's cycles are 7 years. But the moral of the story is there will be seasons of scarcity. But most of the time, those seasons of scarcity or famine are normally preceded by seasons of plenty. But we never sit to notice our seasons of plenty. I was fortunate because I started the discipline of saving and all that stuff. In my season of plenty, I'd put a discipline of saving 10% of my salary in a unit trust. I did not know that 3.5 years later, my season of so-called scarcity was going to kick in. Yeah? So I walked into office. I was working for an international NGO at that time. Then I was given a notice that my job had come to an end. And I had 3 months notice. And sitting down to reflect that my job was coming to an end, I had to look back and see, actually, I had time to prepare. I'd already worked there for 3 years, 3.5 years. And I was earning a very good salary that time. But by God's grace, I had already started saving that 3-year time. I was saving. So by the time this job came to an end, I was not depressed because the job has come to an end, but because I'd been given the grace to prepare for that. But most of the time we get a good job, then what do? We just spend more, yeah? We just spend more. I don't know, we eat more or we buy more clothes. Not bad to buy clothes. I'm just saying that when you recognize your seasons of plenty, use the seasons of plenty to save up for the season of scarcity that you don't know when it's going to come, because they didn't give you an appointment, but you just know it will come at some point. And that's why we encourage that you have an emergency fund, at least 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses as emergency fund, so that when your season of scarcity comes, you have enough time to pivot, either to look for another job, to transition to another business, or to something else. But the point that I want to labor here is that, or my assignment to you is to check out when you have your seasons of plenty. You set aside something for the rainy day, as we call it, because you never know when the rainy day will be. But if the rainy day doesn't happen, then you use that money for acquiring an asset. Fortunately, my season of so-called scarcity, because the savings I was making, my target at that time was to go into consultancy, and I was to save 6 months worth of my living expense. When the job ended, fortunately, I got some other consultancy work that I needed to do, because remember, I was telling you I was working in the evenings and over the weekends to build my business and to do my consultancy work. So by the time the job ended, I already had a pipeline of consultancy work to do. So I did not need to activate my emergency fund to use it. But because it was already there, it was an opportunity now to use that money that had accumulated for asset acquisition. Are you together? So then you find that opportunities come and find that the money was already there. But if I'd missed my season of plenty by just indulging more, I would have missed that season of my life. And also part of the money that you save is what helps you now to do what? To invest and grow and multiply your business. Multiply your money. Okay? So talking about multiplying money, this is what we call, in other words, investment. But when you go into investment, you don't just go invest blindly. Growth without protection is very risky. So you have to make sure that wherever you're investing, you have to protect your money. You have to make sure that your principal is protected and your money is multiplying. A good book to read is, if you haven't read that book, I recommend a good book to read, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. He talks about the discipline, actually he talks all the disciplines of saving, of budgeting, of growing your money and investing your money. So it's a good book for you to go and read on how to grow your money, but even how to make your money. So to multiply your money, you have to know that you're not going into risky ventures that will even make you lose the money that you had already made before. So the first thing you have to do in investing and in multiplying your money is to protect it. You have to invest with caution. I've given Bible references for you to go and look out for. You have to invest with caution. Don't say, oh, now there is this other scheme that has come. There's many pyramid schemes that people come and fall into because their friends. Actually, most of the time I find many Christians get scammed because it is their church members or their brethren, so to speak, who introduce them to those schemes. They say, if somebody is in the scheme, it must be a good scheme. They don't know even somebody was also told by another person to go into the scheme. Then one day we wake up and we read in the newspaper that people who are in this particular thing, all of them, their money disappeared. So when you're investing your money, one of the rules of investment is to make sure that your principal is protected. If your principal is not protected, that is not an investment. You're just gambling. So whatever you put your money, are you guaranteed that your initial principal, the money you put in there, is sure to be there? The interest that comes out might fluctuate depending on the type of investment, but your principal has to be protected. If it is not protected, if that person cannot assure you that your principal is protected, then you're just gambling with your money. Okay? So also to protect your investment, you have to take necessary insurance if you can. Because there are many times that you find a medical bill comes and wipes out all your savings. Yet if you had insurance, you would have done what? You would have utilized the insurance and still have your savings there. Even cars, insuring your car, because sometimes you find you have a big accident or a big repair that needs to be done, and your savings get wiped out with the repairs of the car. Yet if you took up insurance, the premium is much less than the repairs you'll have done on the car. The premium you pay on insurance for health, rather for medical, is much lower than the medical bill that you may have to incur if you have to go through hospitalization and things like that. So in protecting your money, because remember I said you're making the money, you're managing the money, you're investing the money. Now this investment has to be protected, because if you don't protect it, it means that one day it will not be there, okay? As you're protecting your money, also make sure that you have diversified revenue streams. Don't have only one stream. And if you've read that book, the scripture reference I've given there, Ecclesiastes 11, 1 to 2, and even verse 6, also read that. It talks about investing in 7 ventures. No, 8 ventures. You get 7 to 8 ventures. But also, it talks about sowing your seed in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, because you do not know which one is going to return to you profitably, okay? So the idea of having multiple revenue streams is so that you're not depending on one stream. Because if that one stream dries up, then what happens to you? And the things that I mentioned when you're talking about making money, actually all of them fall into these 7 revenue streams that are multiple revenue streams that are shared on the screen there. Most of us have number 3, which is earned income. Salary, yeah? Most of us have salary. But you know, if we work hard and from the savings that we make, we can actually have some money giving us dividend income because you go and invest, or giving rental income if you have rentals, or if you buy an asset that you can rent or hire out, or if you have the ability in your free time, you write a book, you set up something that gives you commission or give you royalties, that's another revenue stream. Or you can go and start a business. From the skills that you have, from the passions that you have, you can start a business, you get business income. From buying treasury bonds and treasury bills and buying mutual trust, you can, unit trusts, you can actually get interest income. If you can buy something cheaply and wait for it to appreciate in value and sell it, I've seen people, people buy land, it appreciates, you get capital gains. But I've also seen people buying a car. They do what? They buy the car and they do what? I was going to do it. They repair it, not renovate it. Yeah, they repair the car, paint it, and it looks nice, and then they sell it at a higher price. That's capital gains. Even some people buy houses that don't look like they're doing very well. They renovate the house, paint it, and sell at a higher price. All these 7 multiple streams I've given you examples of when we started out. So the point is, can you try to have at least 3? Your assignment is to go and see, can I have at least 3? Because a stool, there's a 3-legged stool, somebody, no? Yes, a stool that has 3 legs can stand. But 4 legs, I think, is more stable. 4 legs is more stable, yeah. So aim at having at least 4 revenue streams. So if one leg of the stool breaks, you still have the other 3 standing. But if you have only one leg and that leg breaks, if you have only a salary and the salary breaks, like mine came to an end, what happens to you? So aim at having 3 or 4, or you go how Ecclesiastes says, have 7, 8 ventures that brings you money, okay? But you have to start with somewhere. Most of the time we start with the earned income, which is the salary, and then we grow out into the others. Even if you're saying, oh, for me, I'm not in the professional route, but you have a skill that you can deploy and you get money out of it. But when you have now made money, God has blessed you and you've made a lot of money, don't put all your money in land. People who end up buying every piece of land they see, they're buying. Then you end up in a scenario where we say you're land rich and cash poor. You're asset rich and cash poor. So you have a lot of land, but you can't pay school fees. You have a lot of land, but you can't do all these different things. So as you start acquiring your assets, spread them out so that you are not having everything in one place, okay? If you're going into real estate, don't put all your money in real estate. Put some of your money in real estate. Put some of your money in treasury bills. Put some of your money in business. Don't go. So for those people who, let's say you're retiring, then you get all your retirement money, you go start a business. Then the business collapses. You put all your retirement money there. No. So you have to apportion your investments such that you have some that are in low risk, some are in medium risk, some are in high risk, but not everything is low risk because then you'll not grow, but not everything in high risk because then high risk, you might likely lose everything, okay? And even when you're investing, make sure that your investment, some of them gives you liquidity. During COVID, we realized that if you had land in those 1 month and then you had no cash, you will sell your land at a discount, at a throwaway price just because you need cash. And that's why we say you diversify your investments such that you don't find a place where you're selling your land just to pay school fees. Okay, so how do you structure your investments in such a way that it brings liquidity, but also it has preservation? Okay, so God blesses you, you've made money, you've learned how to manage it, you've invested, but I'm urging us not to be like the Dead Sea. So the Dead Sea, what made it the Dead Sea? It gets money. I mean, not money. Rivers flow into the Dead Sea, yeah? Fresh rivers of fresh water flow into the Dead Sea. But when they reach there, the Dead Sea has no outlet at all. And that is why it is Dead Sea. There's no life that can live in the Dead Sea because the water goes in there, goes nowhere. If we are not careful, when God blesses us and we have no outlet, we will be like the Dead Sea. We will stagnate. So when you give, it is an opportunity for God to also do what? To keep on blessing you. Because God sees this one, I have given them. They were not keeping all the money to themselves. They're also being a blessing. If you're a Christian, you believe in tithing. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, I am the God who gives you the power to make wealth. I'm the one who gives you the ability to make wealth. Depends on the version that you read. Now, how to make wealth through your career, through your business, through investment, it's God who gives you those ideas. And when he asks you to tithe, really, that is not too much to ask for. But also, it is a sign of surrendering your finances to him that God, you've only asked 10%, I've given you 10%. Give me the wisdom to steward the 90% that is remaining. But you've decided to keep everything and eat everything 100% high. Now God is not in the equation, you know? So I believe when you tithe, you're telling God, it's part of your worship to God and part of your thanksgiving, for he has given you the power to make wealth. He has given you the ability to make the wealth, and he can also give you the ability to steward it and grow it. You have a family around you. Timothy says you have to, the 1 Timothy 5:8 says you have to take care of your family, okay? So if God has blessed you, you came from the village, you came to Kampala or whichever city you went to and you're making it, don't forget the people, your people, don't forget your family. Help them to the extent that you can. But sometimes people go the other extreme, yeah? So that you also, you've given out all your money, then you have nothing to live with. That's why the budget helps. Because the budget helps that to help you to align that the needs that need to be met are met, and supporting your family is also being done. But also, you're not an island. You live in a community. Your neighbors might be having a challenge. Your church community, someone could be having a challenge. Support whatever is happening in the community. There's always a call for someone who is in need or someone who needs to be supported. Support them, because one day it will be you who needs to be supported. So you've got money, you've made money, you've managed it, you invested it, give, because that is a way for you to be like the freshwater lake that keeps on being fresh. But if you decide that you're going to be mean with the money that God has given you, you're going to actually stagnate because you're not giving. Most of the people you'll find that when they make a lot of money, I like reading the story of John D. Rockefeller, because he was an accountant. So I think that's why I like his story. An accountant who became an entrepreneur. And he trusted God to live up to the age of 100 years. He lived up to 19, was it 99 or 93? The different things that he trusted God for, and God enabled him to do. But then one of the things he was able to do is to become very, very rich. And then he had now a problem later to distribute the rich, how to say, the wealth. Okay, so you ended up having a good problem of having so much wealth that you had to distribute. If you investigate or if you read about most of the wealthy people, you'll find that they at some point set up a foundation or have some charity that they support or something like that. Now, for Christians, we know what the Bible says about giving. But even those who are not Christians, they also know that when God has blessed you, you also have to give for you to continue being blessed. It's like you're creating room for more blessings to come. As you give, you're creating room for more blessings to come. So, as I close, I'll urge us to dare to dream, because many people are saying, oh, I can't see the money. I don't know what's going to happen. But I remember the story of Abraham when God told him, look to the east, west, as far as you can see, as far as your eyes can take you, as far as you can see, I shall give you for your possession. Sometimes we do not have because we are not seeing very far. We are just seeing here, and also God just gives us there that we have seen. But I'm daring us to dream. Dream for something big, and you'll see God guiding your steps to that big thing. Okay? So sometimes we limit ourselves because we are not seeing very far. But God is just saying, as far as you can see, so I shall give to you. And finally, opportunities are available to all of us. Ecclesiastes 9 says, the race is not for the... Okay, you're going to fill in the blank. Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
race is not for the... Somebody, you're saying? And you're muted, so I can't hear you.
Oh, it is not for the faint of heart.
Okay. Someone can type in the chat, okay? So the race is not...
Yes, I see. Yes, someone put, I think it's for Goretti said the rest is not for the faint-hearted.
No,
And
the
Michael
verse
said,
itself says what? Yeah. Ecclesiastes
for the
9:11.
swift,
The race is not for the swift, nor
faint of heart.
no one wants to say it. The race is not for the... Okay, I think that will be the only Bible verse that I read. The rest you're going to read for yourselves. Okay, can we read it? Have you got it? So that someone then say, it is me who said it. It is the Bible that is saying. You got it?
Yes, it's quite long. It says, I have observed something.
9:11. Hmm.
Yes, I
Yes,
have
that one.
observed something else under the sun. The fastest runner doesn't always win the race, and the strongest warrior doesn't always win the battle. The wise sometimes go hungry, and the skillful are not necessarily healthy. And those who are educated don't always lead successful lives. It's all decided by chance, by being in the right place at the right time. I feel like that version did not do it justice.
Okay, we are not
Let
going
me
to read
try.
another version, but no, because of time. But we got it. Time and chance happens to everyone. Yeah, someone said that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, all of them have the same number of hours that we have. Just to say that time and
Yes,
chance happens to all. But sometimes we just don't seize opportunities when they come to us because either we are afraid, we are scared, or we are thinking, what will people say if I do this thing? What will people think? I know when I got my first job at the service station, someone asked me, you went and got your degree to come work in a service station. But that was not my destiny. It was just my launching pad. Yeah. So sometimes we don't take chances because we are choosy. We are concerned about what people are going to say about us. We are concerned about our reputation and all those different things. But time and chance happens to all. I know. So I sell flowers.
yes.
Mawa and Moise, we sell potted plants and garden accessories. And someone's like, you have your, someone visited one time when I was just starting out. With your whole MBA, you're selling plants. You understand? But at that time, they did not see that 11 years later, I'll be having 3 outlets. You get? But the opportunity was there. But I would have listened to the voices of, oh, you are a CPA, you are an ACCA, you are an MBA, why are you doing something like that? Everyone runs their own race. So when God who says, I am the one who gives you the power to make wealth, he gives you the idea, he gives you the strategy, he gives you the skill, he gives you all those different things. But sometimes so many other voices supersede that voice and you don't take advantage of that. So to close, I've exceeded the time. The key takeaway is make money with wisdom, manage money with discipline, multiply your money with purpose, but honor God in every financial decision that you make. And I'm going to invite you, some of the things that I do with what I have in my hand. Remember my first question, what do you have in your hand? More and more is that, that's one of our outlets at Garden City. We sell potted plants. This is a second outlet also at Garden City. One of the other outlets, you're welcome to visit to see what I have in my hand. That's a third outlet at Metroplex Mall. But out of my profession, I mentor and train accountants. So I have courses that I've come for. So like, for example, the Accountancy 360 was just born out of someone asking me online because I was used to write a lot on LinkedIn and on Facebook. And people would say, could you mentor me? Could you mentor me? I said, instead of mentoring people for free, let me put up a program and they'll pay for it. And people have paid for it. I've mentored more than 100 accountants who've paid to come through Accountancy 360. QuickBooks accounting software, because I'm an accountant, I learned how to use the software. I train other people how to use the software and they pay me to train them to use the software. Many people will say, okay, I need help to understand how to manage my finances, how to plan, manage my debt and everything. I have a course also for money mastery, how to unlock your financial freedom for life. People who are in business want to know how to manage their business. I use my profession to train them how to manage their business finances, Business Finance Simplified. And those who want to start and grow their business, I have a masterclass as well. I'm just telling you that using my profession, my skill, my experience, I have all these courses coming up, but also from my hobby, from my garden, I set up a whole business out of that. And those who need an accounting software, we also sell QuickBooks online. So what do you have in your hand is the question I'm passing on to you, because that which you have in your hand is the key for you to make money, manage it, and grow it. Thank you very much. Somebody, over to you.
Oh, wow, that was quite the session. Thank you so much. This was very, very, very fruitful. If you do have any questions, please type them in the chat or you can unmute and then we can hear from you. Please don't feel shy. There is a chance that that question that you want to ask, someone doesn't know how to string the words together to ask. So please don't be shy. Ask an expert while they're still here. In the meantime, I could maybe ask some that I've had. So if someone is feeling stuck because they don't have a job yet, is there, for lack of a better word, say a mindset shift that they must make before that money opportunity can come for them if maybe they don't know what it is that they have in hand? And also, what is one skill, like if everything else, I wouldn't say if everything else fails, but what is a skill or habit you believe, you personally as Mrs. Katiso, what do you believe every young person must develop today if they want to increase their income or streams of income, say in the next 12 months?
Okay. So that's someone who doesn't have a job yet. You said, yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, so I still go back to that thing. What do they have in their hand? Do they have a skill? What is it that they have? Because you find, I've seen sometimes when, let's say you got your qualification and you go to apply for a job and you don't get a job. I've seen people who go volunteering. Yeah. So you go and you volunteer And when you volunteer, you demonstrate your abilities. When you demonstrate your abilities, actually, they can give you a job. So if right now you don't, let's say you're a graduate, you have some sort of a skill, where can that skill be deployed? And if they're not willing to give you a job, go and volunteer there. And when you volunteer there, they might actually like your demonstration of your skills and employ you and give you a job. Yeah. So sometimes if you're still waiting for the job, for your dream job, if there's a dream job, go and volunteer, go and do that. There's in one of the discipleship classes that I attended, we had a session that was to learn about ourselves, knowing your talents, your God-given talents, so that you know the gifts that God has given you. Do you have gift of administration, of leadership, of organization, or something like that? And those ones, beyond your professional skill, beyond your academic qualification, you might find that you have a gift that God has naturally gifted you to that you can use. I know someone who just had a gift of organizing, and they loved organizing things. And then there are people whose houses are just disorganized, they don't know how to organize anything. And they package themselves to offer to go and organize people's home for a fee. And they actually ended up putting a business after some time. Initially, they were self-employed. Later on, it became a business. There are people who are good at gift shopping. I mean, all of us, as I go back to the question, what do you have in your hand? There is something that you're good at doing. God has enabled you to be good at doing that thing. How can you leverage that skill to get someone to pay you for it? It can be a service, it can be a product you can make, it can be, there's something that you must be good at. I mean, as good, people are just good at making people to laugh, and they are paid to make people to laugh. Like, you know, like how fun can that be, that people just, you're being paid to make people to laugh? So all of us, there's something we can do, but are we brave to make use of that skill, that talent that God has given us? I was thinking just recently when I was preparing for this, I was thinking, I don't know if some of you are old enough to know Mr. Bean. I think now you're TikTok generation, but you know Lame and all these other people. They're not talking, they're just making people laugh. And they make money out of making people laugh. But I remember in our days, it used to be Mr. Bean who we used to watch. The guy I even thought for a long time, I thought the guy doesn't speak. But he actually speaks. But he chose to just do funny skits, funny things, and sell movies out of that, and people were paying him. So something as simple as making people laugh makes you money. How much more all the other serious things that you know how to do, how much money can it give you? I don't know if I've answered your question, somebody.
Yes, you have. We have a lot of gratitude coming in. Thank you so much. We even have a witness, Miss Eunice Adubango, said that you trained her in business finance and it has helped her to date. So thank you so much. We have a question from Goreti Nakabogo. She's asking on the part of investment. Could you please share the apps where we can invest for peer-to-peer lending in Uganda? It's a tough job being a money lender without any contingencies, but maybe there are some apps that could help. Then the other one, maybe so that you can think through, or there is someone that needs some knowledge about the UAP insurance. They've heard of it and that it has a savings part, but they don't know how to use it. Could you maybe shed some light on that? Thank you.
Okay, so the peer-to-peer lending app, I've only used one, so I don't know. You have to to find out which others exist. I've used Money Market Gurus. So the app is called MoneyMate, but the company is called Money Market Gurus. So you have to check them out. So MoneyMate is a platform. At that time, I think when I started it some years ago, they had very high. So let's say they will charge, the person who is borrowing will be charged 10%, and then you who is investing, you earn 5%. I mean, 5% per month, of course, they remove withholding tax, is some good amount of money. But then I think after some time, they scaled down on how to recruit people, because there's all different things about, yeah. But you can check them out. Money Market Gurus, check them out. The app is called MoneyMate, but they can only give you the link to the app themselves. But you can look for others. I think if you just search peer-to-peer lending apps, check them out, and you look out for that. Well, the second question was, yeah. So UAP has financial services and it has the other one for insurance. So the one I was referring to is the one for financial services that later on now is called Old Mutual. So for that one, you sign up online and they give you different options for investment. You can do money market investment, umbrella trust fund, I think, and balanced fund, depending on your goals. You want to invest for a short time, for a medium term, or for long term. You want to invest for a couple of months, for a couple of years, or for retirement. And then based on what your goals are, your financial plans are, then they'll recommend a product for you. So I'll share my number. Those who want, I can send you the details of someone who you can contact. I'll type my number in the chat, and then I can give you a number of someone you can contact. But also, yeah. But I've used Old Mutual initially. It used to be called UAP for 13 years, and I can really vouch for them. So your investment is you get interest on a daily. Your interest accrues on a daily basis, but you get your statement on a monthly basis, so you can see where you are. And you can redeem your money whenever you want to redeem it. So you can see your money growing, and you can always put money whatever time you want to put money, but in multiples of, I think, 100,000. I don't know if they reduced it now, but yeah, so it's an easy way to invest.
Maybe there were two people that had raised their hands. Ruth Chigozi, you will go first, and then followed by Jemima Achola. Ruth Chigozi, are you there? Please unmute and type and ask your question.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our presenter, for the very insightful talk and discussion. My quick question to you, do you know of mechanisms that can help Ugandans to invest in companies that are international, like Coca-Cola, like those international companies outside Uganda? Thank you.
Okay. So so you want to start outside Uganda before being in Uganda. So in Uganda, there is so in the newspaper, or if you go to Capital Markets Authority's website, they have listed there the companies that are listed in the stock market for you to buy shares or stock from them. For the international companies, they're also there. You have to go through, there are different apps that you can use to go there, or you can go through. So how the unit trust, for example, work is you put your money there, then they invest in all those different companies. They invest offshore and in different places. You only get your interest at the end of the day. So right now, I don't want to recommend a particular app. Then you come and say, I want you to go and do your research. How do you invest in all those companies? But they're there. There are apps that you can use to invest online. For if you want to buy shares in Coca-Cola, you want to buy shares on Facebook, you want to buy shares in any of the company that you want, the apps that are there. I just don't have a name that I can type for you right now, but it would be a good assignment for you to find out so that you can read more. I believe that you should invest in something that you understand so that you don't go say, there's an app called Robinhood that people use for investing. And then the time they had some issues and the app was down and all those different things. So imagine if you had recommended someone and say, hey, now the thing you recommended to me, it is not working. And then you start having enmity. So I believe people should do their own homework. For example, when I wanted to invest in unit trust, I read about unit trust, that was 13 years ago, and I found 5 unit trust companies. And I wrote to all the 5 to understand their products. And after reading the products of all the 5, that's when I settled for one. So I believe that you should make informed investment decisions so that you understand the pros and cons of every investment, so that when you've taken the decision, you're owning it up. You don't go looking for Lilian later on that, because I should be putting disclaimers that this advice is just voluntary advice. It is not something that you go and lose money and then you say, you are the one who advised me this. I am not taking liability for that. Okay, so go do your homework, understand whatever you want to invest in, understand its ups and downs so that you're investing with understanding. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Over to you, Miss Jemima. I see your hand is up.
Thank you so much for this session. My question is, how does one get comfortable with pricing and asking for value for like services you offer? Or, for example, if it's a business, or also when it comes to salaries, how do you get comfortable with that? Because sometimes you can feel like maybe you're over asking, or sometimes you might feel like people may think like you're begging or something. So how do you get the perfect middle ground for when it comes to that? Thank you.
Okay. So pricing is a whole topic altogether. Yeah, pricing for products and services is a whole topic altogether, and I have courses for that. But you have to, because there's no one answer. So if you're pricing for a service, is different from when you're pricing for a product. For a service, then you have to consider your time, your expertise, your qualifications, and the going market rate. For a product, you have to think of what did you put into producing that product, all the inputs of that product, all the overheads that you have in running your business, all those different things. So that is business finance, which is like a whole topic altogether, which I may not go into right now. But once you've learned how to do pricing, then you should not be apologetic about your price, because different prices are for different markets. There's a price for mass market, people who like low end, so they want cheap things, and so they might not be very high quality. And then there's a high quality thing cannot be cheap. You get, so you can't offer high quality thing and then it is cheap, but also you can't offer a low quality thing and then it is expensive. So there's so many things to consider in pricing. There's no one answer. And for a pricing session, it's normally a 2-hour session on its own, just talking about cost and pricing. Yeah.
All right, so this is a reminder to sign up for the courses. Our time is fast spent, but we have a few more. Somebody asked that what advice would you give to someone who would like to start a business which is not his specialty? For example, if you're an active teacher who is interested in starting up a cafe.
So why do you want to start up a cafe? That will be my question. So if it's not in your interest, why do you want to start the business? Because when you have a business, remember, you have to be able to supervise the people in that business. Is it you just want to start the cafe business to earn money, or you want to start because there's an opportunity for it? I don't know. So if it's out of passion, then you have to understand how to run a cafe, because you have to supervise the cafe. If you don't supervise the cafe, the business is going to succeed. But you just want to be a co-owner of a cafe, then partner with someone who has passion for that area. Okay? Someone who understands how to run a cafe, partner with them. So you put in your investment, your capital, them they put in their expertise. So you don't have to run the cafe yourself. You can get someone to run the cafe and you become co-owners of the cafe. But if you are not interested in that sector, I will be curious why you want to go in a sector that you're not interested in. Running a business is not just opening a business and it runs. There's nothing automatic. For example, for More and More, I started from home, then I opened my first shop. Then now I have 3 shops, but it took 11 years of setting up systems, of training staff for the business to be able to run without me having to be there. When a business is starting, it's like a baby. You have to be there all the time until the baby is able to walk. It's the same way also with a business. When the baby is young, you have to be there for everything. You cannot outsource the delicate care of the baby at the young age. It's the same way with a business. It takes a lot of effort for the business to mature and to be able to stand alone with systems. So if you're passionate about it, learn how to systemize your passion, or employ professionals who can do the bits that you cannot do. But otherwise, the option is for you to get money and invest in someone who is willing to run a cafe, or someone who already has a cafe and you can buy into the cafe.
Oh, thank you. I think that also answers another question that we had, where somebody was asking, if I have a passion or love in a business, but it doesn't bring profit, what can I do? I think your question was just answered. So moving on to the last two, because our time is fast spent. Someone said, thank you so much, Lilian, for the practical information session. How are you able to manage and run all these ventures you have successfully? Then the last one, please share about investing in a partnership. What should I consider when I want to invest, say, in a friend's business? Lilian, you're muted. Could you please unmute? Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. So if you want to invest in a friend's business, it's not friendship that runs a business. It's a lot of things. There are values, yeah, because you can even have friends. When you go into a business with someone else, think of it like going into a marriage with another person. Do you share the same values? Yeah, you could both be Christians, but you don't share the same values. I've seen that happen. Yeah, so do you share the same values? And then you have to agree. If it's a business you're going into, you have to have everything documented. Are you going in as a limited company? If you're a limited company, you have to have your memorandum and articles of association of how to incorporate that business, how to share the profits and losses of the business, how to run the business. But then when the business starts running, because you might find that if you've contributed 50-50 in the business, then you're sharing profits 50-50. If you've not contributed 50-50, someone has contributed more than the other person, how do you compensate them for that? But it is beyond just having a friend. It is a matter of values. And then in that business, you have to set up systems, because when the business starts growing and becoming profitable, that's where now problems starts to happen if you didn't have systems that guides you on how to run the business. You have to look at it like how you have to, the things you have to consider, if you have disputes arising at some point, how will you resolve those disputes? Yeah, beyond just sitting and praying about it. How will you, because I've seen people start off well, and then later on, something just doesn't work. And then how do you have a system in place to resolve those disputes? How do you make sure that you have common values? So look at it, going into partnership with someone else in business is as good as marrying them. If you wouldn't marry that person, then don't go into business with them. How have I been able to run my business? So a key thing has been systems, okay? And system grows over time. Zadok Associates mostly is a lot, it is a lot service business, okay? So I have more of my time there, but I also work with a team of other people. I have associates that I work with. For Maua and More, it has 3 outlets. So I have staff there, but I have systems. The systems for everything, yeah? And a good book, if you want to run a business and have it run successfully and you're starting out, there's a book that I recommend you to read, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Garber. It talks about how to set up a business so that you can work on your business, not work in your business. When you're able to set up systems and structures so that you can get yourself out of the business and the business runs without you, that is when you can scale your business. That's when you can, scale is the same as expand your business, and that's when it can free you to do other things. But if the business depends on you to open the door and close the door, then it means you don't have systems in place. So the key word for running multiple businesses is systems. And systems are not just hardware, but even the people are part of the systems. As Jim Collins says, get the right people in the bus and then put them in the right seats in the bus. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your wisdom.
Sorry,
Thank
the
you.
last
You have
book.
been such
Someone is
a
asking the name of the
blessing.
last book. Yeah, so the last book is The E-Myth Revisited. I'll type it in the chat. The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Garber. That's for business people. And for personal finance, I was recommending The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. I'll type them in the chat.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the wisdom that you have given us. Oh, wow. That took me out. Someone said, you look really happy, Lilian. I think that the secret of you looking younger, the next session, you could teach us how to be happy like you. Otherwise, thank you so much for the knowledge you have shared with us on finance. So at least we have the title for the next session. But all things aside, thank you so much for taking us through this session. We appreciate all the wisdom that you've given us, and hopefully one day we shall come back to testify because we have put it all in practice, right? A gentle reminder that we have these sessions happening every last Friday of the month. So please be sure to log in. If you would like to join the WhatsApp group, the link has already been posted in the chat section. So please do sign up and you will get the updates. They come 2 days before and at least an hour before it starts. Right now, I would like to request and call upon Vice President, Mr. Emma Osanga, to come and give us some closing remarks. Thank you. The Vice President, Mr. Emma Osanga, over to you. Mr. Emma, you're muted. Please unmute.
Okay, I was struggling to unmute myself. Mine is just to thank you, Lilian, for the great partnership that you continue to extend to us as Inspire. We are so grateful for your commitment to see this vision come alive. You've shared some very great insights. It's such a deep topic, and it is topic that many people are interested. Just in, I think, 30 minutes into the session, we had already oversubscribed in terms of the limit, the limit that we had. We had 100 seats, and all that was kind of exhausted very quickly. So it shows you how people are interested in this topic. You shared your life experience. Sometimes when you go into these sessions, there are people just share the theory, but clearly you are able to show us how you've journeyed through these principles and how they've actually paid dividend in your life. And somebody commented that you're smiling and happy with, I think, how these principles have, I would say, the seeds that you've sown have yielded the results that we can all see and admire. We thank you for sharing your heart, your knowledge, your life experience with us. I mean, you've saved many from making the same mistakes that could have been made by sharing some of your stories. Thank you very, very much, Lilian, for that commitment. I was just smiling to myself. I'm saying if we were to float maybe any of your businesses or your businesses in the stock market, your stocks would have gone quite high, and people would be willing to invest in your brand as Lilian. So we're very grateful for what you've shared and what you've demonstrated can be done. I really liked the fact that you share that the race is not for the swift, but time and chance. And I believe for many of us on the call, maybe this is your time and chance to ignite that dream that Lilian was talking about. You have to start now, and you'll be smiling like Lilian. And so I believe that there are those who at least have gained wisdom to be able to start the race other than procrastinate and try and wait for the big thing to start small like Lilian, and the rest will be history. So thank you for equipping us to be able to start. Thank you, our moderator, for the great job that you've done tonight as well. Thanks to Benjamin and all the team, the mentorship series team, for putting this together. It's been powerful sessions, and we'll continue to do this in the lead up to the summit that comes around August. So be on the lookout. Please come and learn, but most importantly, take the learning and apply it to make your life and your future better. Thank you. I would probably just then close with a word of prayer, if that's okay. And then we can leave. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the wisdom that has been shared today. Lord, we thank you for opening our eyes. Lord, your word says, let those who have ears hear what the Spirit is saying. Lord, open our ears to hear what you're saying through these series and sessions. Lord, we ask that you help us, because your word says that it's not the hearers, but the doers that are blessed, and we want to be blessed. Help us to be able to do and take actions. Faith without action is dead. Allow us to be able to be brave and courageous to take the appropriate actions to yield the results that we want. Lord, we pray for Lilian. Thank you for her committing her time just to bless your people. We pray a blessing over her life, over her businesses. Lord, expand her and grow her even 100-fold. Let these businesses that have been able to scale, let it grow to 10 different locations and more. We thank you for all the wisdom that you've given to her to start this. Lord, we pray that even through what she's shared, her businesses will grow to the glory and honor of your name. Thank you for all the organizers. Thank you for the participants. Lord, bless them with good health and give them the wisdom, because your word says, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him or her ask. Lord, we ask for wisdom to apply what we've learned. We thank you and we bless you and we honor you in Jesus' name. Amen. 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 Moderator, hand back over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Osanga. We appreciate that prayer. Don't forget, if you would love to get these notifications, or if you would like to get the recording for today, please go to the YouTube channel under the Inspire Mentorship YouTube channel. The recording will be there. Don't forget to download the books. They will make a very big difference. Another reminder, we have our next one on the last Friday of February, so please log in, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much.